On the next episode of the Level Par podcast, we speak with Pat Bigelow. Pat is a golf coach here in Massachusetts. We spoke about his love for coaching, his love for putting, and we spoke about Level Par. I hope you enjoy the conversation as much as I did. Pat, first off, thank you for coming on the podcast. I very much appreciate it. We don't know each other, but we kind of got connected through this crazy world of Instagram. Sure. I look at your stuff and I look at your content, and I feel like I'm just learning so much about putting. I'm learning so much about the game. How did you get into teaching, and what made you want to really just be part of this and be part of golf as part of your career?
Yeah, I grew up. My dad was a good player, so I grew up with a club in my hand and loved it. Still, my favorite memories of my childhood are playing, late evening rounds with my old man. I continued to play through high school. I actually played hockey in college and finished college and was kind of in no man's land. I studied finance in college and quickly realized that I was not built to sit behind a desk for 8 to 5. I learned that quickly. And so, we kind of all go on this search of trying to find ourselves and finding what makes us happy. And I pivoted, and luckily, a childhood friend of my dad's was the head pro at Dedham Country Polo Club, and awesome head pro legend Jimmy Norris, and I worked for him forever for about 5 years on the professional side of it, right, as assistant pro, and I loved it. You make, sorry if I swear, dog shit. Yeah. Right, but you're around this game that you love, and you kind of go. I was kind of going down that rabbit hole, that career trajectory of saying, hey, I wanted to be a head pro at a country club, and I had my first kid and quickly realized that I'm not built to work on weekends and be away from family that much, and that's expected of you as a golf pro and to some degree as a teacher as well. Yeah. And this is kind of why I've outlined my career this way, is I can teach when I want, whether it's somewhere, sometimes I don't work on weekends. Because I found, I think a big part of the book is finding what makes you happy, or, the structure of your life, the work-life balance. I've created a little, still have my goals and my aspirations and, looking to build out my own place, but I have found something that I love, and I've no regrets. I had to grind it out for years, making nothing, right? Literally nothing.
I know it's a tough world.
You have no idea sometimes, and members what these assistant professionals are making. And sorry to interrupt you.
No, it's all good.
But you sacrifice it, and the head goal for me was being in the head pro, and so. To go back, being in the golf business, I started to teach more, and that I fell in love with it, and just the learning aspect. I hated school. I was probably the worst student of all time. Hated studying, and quickly found that oh my God, I'm actually studying anatomy and biomechanics, and wow, and I'm addicted to it, right? And I can't stop learning, and. So it quickly, go back to your original question and re-putting, I saw what the golf game was becoming, right? It was you got your specialty sports, your mental game coach, your short game coaches, your putting coaches, and I looked at the New England section and was oh, there really isn't anyone that's really going full putting. And if there were, apologies, I just wasn't aware of them at the time. And becoming more aware now there are, but there still wasn't a lot of specialty coaches. So I went down that rabbit hole and was super fortunate enough to get linked up with David Orr with Flat Stick Academy, who is still to this day the smartest mind I've been around in golf. Absolutely brilliant man, and was fortunate enough to just learn from him. And I was such a part of it too. It was I was such a wretched putter, and I wanted to understand why. Because what do I do like every other amateur? I'm grabbing different putters, I'm trying different grips, but why do I really suck? Well, I don't understand the concepts around putting, right? Not accelerating through the golf ball. I'm not trying to keep the face square to the target or go straight back and through. So learning about that was making me a better player, but also making me a better instructor.
Yeah.
I don't play much anymore, so now everything is more education. And yeah, so it's really cool. Like, I wish if I could have the ability, I would probably teach putting full time, but I can't fill my lesson book.
Sure.
But it's been really gnarly the last 3 or 4 years. It's become more and more putting, and I'm fortunate enough to work with some good players, and they may have a great swing coach like yourself and Tom Kavicki. Well, that player may say, "Hey, Pat's really gone deep into putting, and he's I've spent time learning from these top instructors. Bill Smittle would be another mentor of mine, Preston Combs. So they're coming to me just for putting."
Sure.
Which is, I think, really cool.
Yeah. With Instagram and all these people, like it's a flooded market.
Sure.
So you better stick out in some way. And I think that the fact that you're moving more towards, you saw a niche that might not be filled.
Yeah.
Like that's such a huge niche as well too. I mean, look at. I'm watching. I was watching earlier. Like they still talk about how Rory suggested that Scotty go to the mallet putter,
right.
And it is still a story like 3 years later. And then even Rory made a putt, and they were talking about Brad Faxon being his putting coach, and all the things that he's learned about putting. Like there is such like an important need to have somebody that just takes care of that part of the game.
Yeah, and the more you learn about it, it's the more you realize you don't know. Like I had zero business teaching any putting prior to my education with flat stick and what I've been doing these last couple of years. Yes, I can understand a little face to path, but what happens when I start to change my wrist from here to here or go to adduction? These small little changes are changing totally different environments around the club face and movement, right? And I just knew nothing. So I look back and I'm like, man, I probably screwed up a lot of putting strokes back then.
It's okay. They were probably gonna get screwed up no matter what.
But yeah, and it's just really cool when understanding, the vertical planes and the path and the face and launch conditions, and because it's just like the full swing. Like you probably have so much knowledge with Tom and understanding attack angle and path and all that important stuff, but do you understand it about the putting stroke? Most are going to say no, right?
Yeah.
90% of the players that come to me, their concepts are wrong. They're accelerating through the golf ball and keeping the fit, whatever I was saying earlier.
Yeah. So. No, I mean, I could talk about the ins and outs of golf all day. It's I don't know. I feel like it's almost like a brotherhood too when you meet people and you kind of get a chance to, and a sisterhood, I should say.
Yeah, definitely.
You get a chance to really, talk shop with people, and I think that's what this community can kind of build, and it grows. And I think you've probably seen it in the people who have come to you. Like there are folks from every age range, to juniors to seniors to guys in the middle who are trying to get their game back. Is there one fundamental kind of thing they're looking for when they come to you for putting? Is it something that are they missing in a certain way, or is it just an overall like, hey, I feel like I've only picked up a putter and I've only just tried to do it myself. No one's ever taught me like how to actually do this thing.
I get a lot of this as my first putting lessons. That happens quite a bit, and just like full swing, you see so many different movement patterns, so many different compensations. One of the biggest ones would be the trying to keep the face square to the target going back, or keeping the putter going back in a straight line. Those are usually the ones that those concepts right away, and asking the player questions, and this is where it's up to you as the instructor to dive deep and understand their background and what their ideas of the putting stroke are, because right away it's like, oh yeah, and how are you managing speed? Well, I'm changing my acceleration through the ball. So like right away, it's like, okay, well, we can have a conversation. Now you can move differently because, hey, let's not accelerate through the ball. Let's get some energy going in the backstroke and a little bit more in transition. And,
it makes all the sense in the world to me. But also like the putter world has gone crazy now too. You think about I actually just picked up a brand new putter down the PGA show. Makefield putters. Honestly, I picked up that putter and it was just one of those things. Is like I felt so comfortable with that thing in my hand.
Now, why?
The weight. There was something about the weight of it. It's like I've always putted with the Odyssey, kind of like half mallet, half blade.
Totally.
Because I used to putt with a blade, and then I've kind of slowly progressed to bigger putters just because I like the weight of it. But I picked up this Makefield, and the weight was just absolutely back and forth. I felt like it was going back to where like in the line that I wanted to go back, and I didn't have to make a lot of effort with it. And I went out and putted with my buddy in Lakewood Ranch when I was down in Florida, and 15-footer birdie putt on the third hole, drained. Like I was like, wow, amazing. This is the best purchase I'm ever going to make, and I'm gonna fall in love with that putter. It's almost like it's a love at first sight.
Now I would say, text me in 2 months and tell me how you still feel. Right?
Yeah.
You want to take a bigger sample size, because it's not to say it's not the right putter for you, but even changing out the head, well, you're going to now aim it differently. When you change out blade to mallet, well, now the face isn't going to rotate as less. So maybe those are the things that actually helped. Who knows? We also want to test it over a longer period of time. My first question to you when I hear that, and sorry to pick on you a little bit, but let's flip it on you,
this is great.
Right? Is, were you a poor putter before?
I don't think I wasn't a poor putter. I was a poor putter from like 5 feet and in.
Why? Start line, speed, green reading?
Probably start line and green reading. Over reading putts from that length. Because I'm a very good lag putter. Like a very good lag putter. But once I get in, it's almost like I don't pick my spot and I don't stick to it.
Now let me ask you a follow-up question. Does there a mental shift from lag putting, say 30 feet to 5 feet? Is there I'm a little bit more free-flowing 30 feet, not as focused on making it as a much, I shift in, all of a sudden I'm supposed to make this?
Yes. Yeah, I would say that there's a big portion of that. That's probably been my biggest downfall of my game of golf, is that, so I played junior golf, I played high school golf, and then I found my way into booze and weed, and I smoked myself off the team.
Join the club, brother.
Right.
Join the club.
Senior year, I smoked myself off the team.
I don't drink it,
We'll get into all that stuff, but I did notice
podcast.
No, we absolutely chat about that. But I did notice that, especially chips and short putts. I definitely kind of got yippy around things, and it never made any sense because I had a good putting stroke. I felt like I was pretty confident at putts of 10 to 20 feet, but you get me in close, I'm like, I don't know if I can.
You got to identify why. So I was asking those questions, right? Is it the start line, right? Is it a push or pull bias? Is it the green reading? You said maybe there's a tendency to overread it, or is it the speed, right? Is my speed not matching my intended line, right? So that's on your coach and as a player, and you're lucky to have Tom and say, hey, you guys seem to have identified when you move inside 5 feet, there's a mental shift. Right?
Probably a lot of I need to just get on the practice screen. This is like
that's it, right? You need the reps, you need the history and data on the practice screen to even give yourself to say, I'm going to have somewhat confidence on a tournament at 5 feet to make it, right? I need that history and data on that practice screen where there's no pressure, right? It's a controlled environment before I'm going to be able to have the confidence over a 5-footer when there's pressure on it.
Well, I think because you read Level Par, and I was very much a self-taught golfer. Like a very much just go out and play and figure it out. Like I had a couple lessons.
I was too.
And so I definitely am a fixer. I am this, I am that. But over the last couple of years, as I've kind of started to understand my golf game a little bit more, it's more.
How so?
Working with Tom, but also just understanding that I know my miss now. I have an understanding of where it's going to go. I couldn't hit a driver for the life of me so I quit golf for about 10 years. When I was a sports writer at the Boston Herald, I quit because I just didn't have enough time. I actually developed the yips right before when I was leaving Tampa, when I was still doing the PGM program, but I was partying my ass off, and I got the yips around the greens. And it wasn't fun anymore. So and then when I would go out and play, buddies would ask me to play in a tournament, or I would go do a scramble or something. Well, scrambles were great because I could just there was no pressure. But I'd go out and play around it and shoot 110, 105. I'm like, this sucks. I don't want to do this.
Someone who was once.
I was usually in low 80s, mid 70s, high 70s, and playing okay golf, right?
It's good golf.
It's very good golf. And so now I've during COVID, I kind of actually started to get the idea for the book during COVID because I started to play more. And now at one point I was 9 at the beginning of, I started my journey back to golf at a 23 handicap, got down to a 9, shot 73 like 2 years ago.
No kidding.
So it's like, okay, it's in there somewhere.
Yeah.
So I got to figure this out.
Yeah.
And that's why I took it more seriously.
And
so.
I'm blanking the character's name in the book, but Tom, right, the character, that's like, there's your mentor, there's your guider, and you need to have that person in your life to take you through this game.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're going to be lost in guessing, and
Well, something like Tim and I were talking about on the last podcast was like having a team around you. Like you think about like Justin Rose has like Blackburn, and now he's got all these strength and conditioning coaches, and actually most guys on tours have this kind of like conglomerate of people who are just all looking at different aspects of an athlete's game. And I don't think it's outlandish for an amateur golfer to want to have that as well too. As long as if you have the means to do it,
that's what it is.
Find people who could help you out in different aspects of the game.
100%. So like you say, this team, like Tim and I work together with so many different players throughout the area. It was funny. I knew exactly who he was talking about when he was talking about the shoulder and not working enough. And you know who we are, and he knows. So, but yeah, and like Tim sees things that I don't, and we do a lot of stuff together, and it costs money, right? Obviously, expensive to have both of us there. But what the player gets out of having me and Tim there, and say a 2-hour lesson is
way more.
Yeah, 100%. And one of the best things I did for me, learning about the swing was go back and learn about the human body. Right? Go back and learn, take some classes and understand, okay, this is these different parts of the bones, this is how they rotate, we're dealing with joints, blah, 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 blah. But Tim has spent his lifetime learning about that, right? So he's going to see these little micro movements that I don't. So it's and that's why you see these young kids, and kids I use because they are kids compared to me now, right? We're the same age.
We're getting old.
These men and women that come out and they're so well prepared, right? I never worked out in high school. Like I played hockey and
it wasn't part of the fabric.
100%, right? I work out now way more than I ever did, and then you go back. It's like, all right, then you got your putting coach and your mental coach, and
you have to.
Yeah, I get players all the time that will come to me and say, hey, like, can we work on my mental game? And I'm like, nope.
There's somebody for that.
There's somebody for you. I know some, but I haven't spent my lifetime learning about the mental game. And that's on us as coaches. And what I should have done back then was say, hey, if you want a putting lesson, don't come see me, right? Go see someone, do your research, and because I didn't know what I was doing. I thought I might have.
Right,
but,
but with knowledge comes, with some wisdom and some time, and so you can put those. And then now you also have the, you have the resume now to say like, hey, I've worked with X amount of players on their putting. I'd love to see where you are 5 years from now, right? Like where do you think that, you'll start? Will you start trending more towards just focusing on putting, and is that something that you would be fulfilled with? Because I know you do a lot of full swing stuff.
Yeah, my answer to that changes literally every day. Right? It's like I do. I love putting. I love short game too. That's another area I have really deep dive. But yeah, I think that if I could take becoming a full-time putting instructor and make that a reality, I would.
Who's the short game guy from England? Dan Grieve?
Yeah, Dan Grieve's great. Well, you got Short Game Chef, as you know, you got James Ridyard, you got Joe Mayo, you got all these guys that are, and you look in their Instagram, and you've got, Keith Mitchell, and you've got all of these different guys who are going to their short game coaches. Now, some are using, so I'm saying everyone is, but hey,
Yeah. I mean, and there's so much to learn too, and the fact that you could use Instagram, and you do such a nice job with your Instagram account. I think you have 12,000, 13,000 followers at this point.
Like
did you think that was going to be something where you were going to have to do that? Because this was not a thing 5-6 years ago. But you're able to kind of put that information out there in a very digestible way for folks as well too. So I think it's just another avenue that you could use. How have you been able to kind of use that to your advantage?
Sure, you gotta you gotta get over it, right? That fear. That was the first thing for me was I still I'm mortified right now. I am so anxious with this camera. And that's just me. Even I don't like posting videos of myself. If you watch my Instagram, it's mostly my students. I don't like so But I had to get over that,
Yep.
right? And then it was putting the information that I was learning out there. So if you go back to kind of when I originally got on Instagram, I wasn't doing quick tips.
Yep.
I was doing before and after lessons saying, hey, this is what this player was doing.
Sure.
You know, he was set up on his toes, he was, bending the chest forward, rolling the club inside open, and then whatever. And then saying, okay, this is what we did. Okay, we bumped the pelvis more forward. We rounded out the lower T-spine. I would talk technical,
Sure.
but I would also use layman terms
Yep.
because it was helping me learn.
Yep.
Right. Okay. Trail arm was more external. Okay. We got more chest sway off the ball. Whatever was going on in the lesson to fix it, and showing these, before and afters with some drills and
Yeah.
how we fixed it. So
Yeah.
it wasn't just like, hey, do this and fix your swing, because I wasn't getting much, and I just don't think that necessarily helps the player as well. And there was enough of that,
Sure.
right?
Yeah.
And I was fortunate enough, Shaheen Najavani, who is a brilliant swing coach, he's out of Canada, he works with some tour players, and I did his mentorship program, and this is exactly what he was doing and outlined. We would talk about these patterns. Hey, when you're long and laid off, the shaft it's probably going to shallow early and then steepen late because of the position in it, right? When you're short and across the line, it's a bad matchup because, well, the backswing's short and it's away from being in a shallow position,
Sure.
right? So understanding all this, the patterns, what matched up, grip, wrist angles, pivot, it just really got me to think differently about the golf swing. But it also got these players to come see me, right? Especially better players, because they were seeing the technical components that I had.
Yeah.
And maybe it was too technical, and maybe I probably would have had more Instagram followers if I was saying, hey, here's a quick, drill and
Sure.
cool music, and
But at the end
that
of the day,
helps to some degree.
Find your niche too, right? At the end of the day, if you can find exactly what you want to put out there,
Right.
I think it's the tough part of the Instagram world of social media right now, right? Especially in the golf world. I think a lot of people are doing the same thing, and people go, do you want to be a golf influencer? I'm like, no, I just want to put good storytelling out
Sure.
there as part of the game of golf.
Sure.
And I'll put my swing out there every now and then because I love playing the game of golf.
Absolutely.
And so, but there's a lot of sameness. I think what you're able to do is do a lot of really unique niche stuff, which is it's cool. And
Yeah.
I've been following along for a while, and
Appreciate
I think
it.
you and I have talked for a couple of years now.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, here we are now. So it's
Yeah.
great. It's
Yeah.
just the beginning of I'll come up and work with you someday too. I think it'll be really, really good.
I'm probably going to tell you the same thing, that just for putting, because you're covered in
Yeah.
full swing. But and there's room for everyone, right? There's room for influencers.
Yeah.
There's room, because at the end of the day, it's just getting people to play golf,
Yeah.
learn
Agreed.
more, have fun.
Yeah.
Most of you are not going to be playing on the PGA Tour.
Nope.
Stop and smell the roses.
Yep.
Enjoy your friends,
Yep.
right? It's and get better, right?
Get better and do it for the right reasons.
If you want
too.
to.
Exactly.
And if you don't, who cares?
And if you want to just go out and play.
But don't get pissed when you don't get better
Yeah.
and you haven't practiced, or you're practicing and don't have a coach.
Sure.
That's
Right.
on you, and
Yeah.
that's your,
Yeah, because hitting balls is not practicing.
it's exercising.
It's exercising. Hitting balls is just.
It's exercising
And
for most
sometimes
of
I
us.
love the fact that I can just go hit driver as hard as I
Absolutely.
want.
Absolutely.
And I'm I got some fucking stress going on right now. I'm just gonna hit driver
Yeah.
and leave.
Yeah.
And feel like I
Yeah.
just.
But what was the intent of the practice session? It was just
other
rip
than
driver.
just rip driver.
100%.
Yeah. There was no. I wasn't working on anything else other than. Let me just swing as hard as I can because I got a little thing on my mind. And I think that's a great thing about golf is that I had such a negative. I don't know. I just had such a negative attitude about the game of golf when I started to suck.
Yeah.
Even when I was good.
Yeah. And you think that that was a direct correlation to just bad play?
I think it was a bad play, but also where my mindset was.
Sure, yeah.
Drinking
Yeah.
and I mean I'm not 100% sober now, but
Yeah.
it's also what I do now is completely different than what I
Yeah.
did before.
Yeah.
And I realized how much more fun I have playing the game of golf when I don't touch booze.
Yeah.
And I play better.
Sure. Yeah.
I enjoy myself when I
Yeah.
play better.
Yeah.
But I just had no true mental ability to play the game the way that I wanted
Yeah.
to, and I think that you you probably had some similar type story with the game. Is that kind of like something?
Yeah, I don't drink anymore, and everyone should be thinking that, because I'd be on this table with my shirt off, twirling it around, and that
You were a 0 to 100 guy.
Yeah. So it's good for everyone, and it's allowed me over and there's over the last 10 plus years, and I have not been sober every single one of those days. But what it's allowed me to do is have a career I love, right? It allows me to go at home and be with my kids. It allows me to go home and learn and go to these different education events and work with these players, and not want to jump off the top of the building while doing it, right?
Yeah.
So that's just me, right? That's me, and for everyone it's different. Like, you may not need to be sober. Who the fuck knows, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Everyone's story is different.
It's to each their own, right? At the end of the day, like, and I think that's what I was trying to get across in that book too, is that this guy needed to get his shit together. To get where he needed to go, and I think that a lot of it is like, I needed to get my shit together.
Well, I texted you. I was like, dude, I'm in tears. Like, this is like, because you get broken down, you get beaten down all the way, and and then you and Tim talked a little bit about it, and then it's like, start to get all these things back, these people around you, your support, all that starts to come back. And
what like kind of resonated with you with the book, like as you were reading it?
It's just the different set of emotions, right? And like, how does one balance those, right? How does one balance those when they're a state as he was? Right? What do you do, right? What do you do? You got to find something. Right. We got to find something to turn that attention to. And what resonated with me was like, golf is what did it for me, right? It was coincided with me stopping drinking and getting into the golf business, right? And it's what saved me, and the people and the relationships that you build, outside of golf, but in golf, right? You think about like somebody like Tim. Tim has like become one of my like really good buddies outside of golf. We talk about like stuff, like real stuff, not just like, yo, bro,
not surface level.
100%. And you think about like how we grew up, we're the same age. It was like, you've got to keep everything in. That's the tough thing to do. The hardest thing to do is for me to sit here and be vulnerable and be, I'm struggling today, man. I'm fucking really struggling. Right? To have the balls to sit there and say that when I'm actually feeling that way, that's the hard thing to do.
Yeah, I would agree. I think that when, I wrote that, a lot of stuff came out of me, because there is a lot of me in that story of Jake, like, that the character in the book, and my path was very similar to it. My struggles were very similar to it. I mean, obviously, I kicked it up a little notch a little bit to fictionalize it a little bit to make sure that
little
it was
AK-47.
I mean, never know. It could be a movie someday. So, but
you can play yourself. You're handsome.
I can play myself. I can play myself. Yeah. If Mark Wahlberg or Matt Damon, if you're watching, I'm for hire. So, but no, I think it's just, you look back at mistakes that you made, but until you start taking accountability and start like really thinking about the things that you need to do to get your shit together, I don't think you're ever going to really succeed in this game to the level that you're going to want to, because it takes so much. And if you think about Jake's quest on that last hole, if he was out of his mind, he wouldn't be able to think about the shots that he needed to make.
Do you have the mental fortitude to handle that pressured sandwich situation, right? You need that research and that preparation, and that's what,
and you need to have the kind of almost like the proof that you've done it.
That's what it is, man. 100%. I mean, the book's great. How do you feel you changed as a person from going from the start of that book to the finish? Like, what's the biggest like difference in you?
Honestly,
no one's asked you any tough questions.
No, it's true. No, I think just getting it out of my system. Like when I was writing it was very cathartic. Like it was very.
You could tell as a reader.
Yeah, it was almost like I just pushed this all out of me, and I've changed a lot. I think I have changed a lot to the point where, I'm rethinking my relationship with alcohol to the point of like I don't even know if I really want to drink anymore. And I've had many thoughts that maybe some drink that I had last month might be my last one ever. But also, if it's not, at least I have a grip on it that I know that this is not going to take over my life the way that it did before. And I feel like it just brought me a little bit closer to myself. Like I feel more aware of who I am and not really afraid to like be who I am.
Not beat yourself up. So
No, not
much,
be like, yes.
right. It's like living in the past.
Yeah.
And like, you know, what good does that do?
Actually,
I'm the king of it.
yeah.
I'm the king of it, right? So who am I? But yeah, that's what we try not to do. Is like
even like playing golf now. I think that if I don't ever get mad during a round, that's a win.
For sure.
Like I was just such a dick, like to myself and to other people, and mostly to myself, because like, you know, at the end of the day, I'm not really thinking about anybody else's golf swing.
Sure.
I'm not thinking about what anyone else is doing on the course. Right. But I had such a low self-esteem of like who I was on the golf course, and like the fact that I wasn't getting to the place that I wanted to get to.
Sure.
And it was a label that I gave myself, that I was a failure at golf.
Yeah.
When really, like, you know, I could have been all right.
Yeah.
If I just let go.
Yeah.
Because as soon as I stopped caring, and I'd get like to the point where I get so pissed, I'd throw a club and I'd fucking say every swear word under the sun, and then I'd start making pars.
Sure.
Because like the temperature got here, and then it couldn't go any higher.
Sure.
And once it chilled out, I was back to playing decent golf, and I'm like, if I just didn't do that, who knows what the round would have looked like.
Totally. It's what separates so many of these elite players.
Yeah.
Is just this.
The
How do you deal with it?
Yeah.
Right? How do you deal with the emotions? How do you deal with your feelings? How do you deal with the disappointment? Because there is a lot of disappointment in this golf. Way more disappointment than there is success.
Yeah. I mean, the failure thing, I think is in Moneyball. I don't know if you've ever read Moneyball.
Been a minute, but Oakland A's.
Billy
right?
Beane. Billy Beane talked about how. So Billy Beane was this like can't miss like prospect coming out of high school or college, wherever he came out of, and he got drafted incredibly high in his year of the draft.
Yeah.
But he didn't know how to fail, and so anytime he went into a slump, he tried and fix something, and then he got himself so fucked up in the head.
Interesting.
He couldn't get back.
Sure.
But the complete opposite was Lenny Dykstra. Lenny Dykstra of the Philadelphia Phillies, like obviously kind of a madman.
Yeah.
But had the perfect mindset to play baseball. He didn't give a shit.
Yeah.
Like he would fail, then he would shut it off, and then he would just be like, I'm good to go. And then he would go back on a hitting streak. And so that's like Billy Beane was up in his head, Lenny Dykstra was in his body.
Yeah.
And it's a completely different like dynamic.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
but that to me is what separates great golfers from mediocre golfers to guys who might never scratch, like Joel Damon.
Yeah.
Like I don't think he's ever gonna like consistently be in the top 10, but like he'll be on the tour for a long time.
For sure.
But like to what level? I don't know.
They can all putt too.
Yeah, exactly. As long as you can putt, you know, go see Pat.
Look at their putting stats. Just find someone good.
Yeah. Well, I mean, what's next for you? Where can people find out about like stuff that you got going on?
Yeah, so you can just follow me on Instagram. So you know, currently just teaching full time. I'm looking at space. So any real estate people out there, if you got big space with high ceilings, DM me.
Yeah.
I'm kidding. I got plenty of people working on it.
Yeah.
But yeah, so the goal is at some point open my own space. What I've found is mentorship is starting to what drives me as I'm getting older.
Yeah.
I have a couple young instructors right now, one in particular and he's hungry and he wants to learn.
Sure.
It just reminds me so much of it's so rewarding to see him grow, to see him get better, right? To see him start making some money, and I think that's so cool, is to be able to pass on the information that was given to me by way smarter people than me. All I did was just learn it, right?
Yeah.
And passing it on to, you know, because it's hard. It's like there's so many it's getting saturated. There's so many young instructors, so many people getting into golf. You said it. How do I stand out?
Yeah.
Right? Is it putting? That's what I push him. I'm like, you should be going full-time putting. You should be going full-time short game or full-time mental game.
Yeah.
Because look at the market, right?
Yeah.
Look at the game. How is it trending? It's getting just more and more specialized. All we're going to do is get more and more information, and it's require us to learn that much more.
And you better be very good at this one thing.
So if I'm looking at full swing every putting, you're going to go banana land. Where and that's where, I think that putting and why I love I happen to just love it.
Good.
You're so exposed out there.
Great.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate the time,
Yeah,
man.
man.
It was a
This
lot of
is
fun. We'll do it again soon.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Appreciate
Thanks.
it, dude.